Few guys in this world are cooler or have had more of an impact on pop culture than Tim Curry. He's even dabbled in video games.
Sorry, Jimmy, I can't let you go on like this. If you're talking about Tim Curry, darling, you must have the theatrical, le passion, le rice to go with your curry. Go treat yourself to a custard cream and leave it to me to look at Tim Curry in spooky games.
Yes, it has been 5 minutes since I last creamed. Right. I'll let you handle this one, old chap, and I'll see you lot again tomorrow. Bye.
Right, that's enough silly voices. Hello viewers, it's good to see you. I'm Will from Cultured Vultures. Who wants to get weird with Tim Curry? Everyone? Lovely. It's not a sin.
Well, if the devil had great legs, perhaps, like yours.
And a riveting personality, I'm sure.
Back in the good old days, people would often scoff and look down upon video games, and it certainly wasn't the multi-billion-dollar industry it is today. To date, Mr. Curry has appeared in 22 video games, so he certainly wasn't one to scoff at gaming, and the checks probably helped too. The man must have needed to build a lot of conservatories. Why did he need so many conservatories? Anyway, here's the first one, and what a banger it is too. Gabriel Knight's Sins of the Father is a 1993 gothic horror point-and-click adventure. You play as the titular Gabriel Knight, a struggling writer and owner of a New Orleans-based bookshop.
Hold on a sec while I go check my hair.
There's a series of voodoo-related murders going on in town, and Gabriel believes they could be an inspiration for a book. If you know your point and your click, then you know what's going on here. Explore, find items and speak to people, all the hallmarks of a classic point-and-click adventure. And it's not just Tim Curry here, there's a great cast on board for the game, including Mark Hamill, Leah Remini and Michael Dorn. It's directed by video game legend Jane Jensen, who helped make this into quite the cult series. Throughout the adventure, Gabriel Knight will stumble upon the occult, secret societies and ancient rituals in a story told over 10 days. The game all takes place in real-world shops and buildings located in New Orleans' French Quarter. Accurate sales for Sins of the Father were never released, but it certainly was critically well received, with Computer Gaming World giving it Adventure Game of the Year in 1994 and stated, was the first time they've actually experienced fear when playing a video game. Wait till these guys get a load of PT. It won the 1993 CES Best in Show and received a perfect score of 5 out of 5 from adventure gamers, and they really know their stuff. It's well worth playing today and an absolute classic of the genre. It is important to note that the game did receive a 20th anniversary remake in 2014, but it was totally recast. No Curry, you monsters.
My money that funded your research, you idiot! With my money you created your electric protein cream formula!
It wouldn't be 90s horror without some wonky FMV, and this time we didn't just get to hear Tim Curry, we got to see him in the flesh. The spectacular, grainy, digitized flesh. Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster sees Curry take up the role of Victor Frankenstein, and you take up the role of one of his monsters, a man resurrected by Dr. Frankenstein himself. The game is a perfect setup. You play as an amnesiac, zombie, I guess? Amnesiac zombie? I suppose that works. And you have to explore in 90s first-person point-and-click shenanigans. While it has little to do with the Mary Shelley classic novel, it does feature some themes which are both gothic and tragic, like seeing a Nightmare Before Christmas jumper in Home Bargains in September. Of course, Tim Curry is the highlight here, chewing scenery as he goes, but he doesn't just lean on the mad scientist stereotype. He manages to portray the ambition and obsession of a deeply flawed individual. It was never going to be an award-winning game, but one thing you can't argue is that Tim Curry absolutely smashes it. The game features pre-rendered scenery, which was the style at the time, and Curry's acting was filmed upon a blue screen, with him inserted into the story at various points. The gameplay is exactly how you'd imagine, near impossible, and a little vague on what you need to do next. That's FMV, baby! Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster isn't currently available to play anywhere, which is a bit shit, but you can vote for a release on Good Old Games. So if you are feeling particularly masochistic, then go over there and vote for it. Or, you know, you can look through the eyes of the search engine results page, matey. Let's hope this one hasn't aged like
pork butt.
Let me change the tune quickly.
Reanimating your miserable corpses wasn't easy. Squeezing the life back.
Toonstruck isn't a horror game by the absolute strictest definition. However, there's enough weirdness, surreality and dark humour to allow us to fit this into this video. And let's be honest, you're here for the curry. Toonstruck is Yes, you've guessed it, a point-and-click game, and was created by Burst Studios, a company that was bought by EA and was subsequently closed after developing one game, classic Electronic Arts. When artist Drew Blank suffers from artist's block, he finds himself mysteriously pulled into his own cartoon world based upon the hit TV show The Fluffy Fluffy Bun Bun Show. When he arrives there, he teams up with one of his own creations, Flux Wildly, and aims to stop the evil Count Nefarious, played by Tim Curry, who has ravaged this cartoon world.
How convenient. I can destroy the machine and the meddling Zanian, all in one fell swoop.
Toonstruck, much like Gabriel Knight, features an amazing cast, as Curry co-stars with Christopher Lloyd, Dan Castellaneta, yes of course, the capital city goofball, and Dom DeLuise. It also features a ton of Saturday morning cartoon voice artists such as Rob Paulson, Tress McNeville, and Jim Cummings. As I've already mentioned, Toonstruck isn't really a horror title, but there's some seriously weird mother-flipping stuff going on in this game, and it doesn't get much more disturbing than when Drew wanders in to discover a sadist sheep called Punisher Polly taking out her frustrations on a masochistic cow who demands her to tenderize her beef. There's a weird dark tone running through the veins of this game, in juxtaposition to the colourful cartoon visuals on display. Toonstruck, while not particularly well remembered today, actually had rather good reviews on release. PC Zone gave it 93%, Computer Gaming World gave it a perfect 5 out of 5, and Entertainment Weekly gave it an A- score. Good reviews didn't turn into good sales though, with Toonstruck only shifting around 150,000 copies. That isn't bad in terms of sales for a 90s point-and-click game, but considering Toonstruck had cost around $8 million to develop, 150,000 copies didn't make a dent. Some of the blame could have been put onto the marketing, as the game looks more like a kid-friendly Saturday morning cartoon, whereas many didn't actually know about the darker aspects of Toonstruck until they actually played the game. It's such a shame that Toonstruck is wrapped up in various rights issues that a re-release or remaster is just not possible at this moment in time. There's even been talks of a Toonstruck 2 featuring unused content from the original, but there's been little movement on that project since 2010.
Speaking of which, Larry Chester is definitely lying. He said McDougal and Mallory just stopped by last night for directions I couldn't get him to crack.
A quick note before continuing, yes, there's no Gabriel Knight 2 in this video. For those who don't know, following the release of Sins of the Father, FMV games became big business and were seen as, quote unquote, the future of video games. So Tim Curry, not actually being as blonde or as hunky as Gabriel Knight, was recast for the FMV sequel, Gabriel Knight 2. But it is the late 90s now, FMV has gone and the future is polygons, so he's back for the third entry, this time in 3D.
Prince James, I'm afraid I have some pretty bad news. Sir, your men were found dead this morning.
Many games around this time were moving to 3D polygons, so lucky for us it wasn't just called Gabriel Knight 3D. Gabriel Knight 3 takes place over 3 days and focuses on vampire lore, historical myth and Templar conspiracies, popular in the 90s. Tim Curry once again plays Gabriel Knight, who is now in rural France investigating the kidnapping of a royal baby who is said to possess holy blood. Gabriel Knight 3 is an interesting game in the point-and-click genre. Many other games were finding that 3D games were selling much better than 2D games, and many franchises attempted to update their games from 2D sprites to 3D polygons, often to mixed results. While fans often praise Gabriel Knight 3, even they have to admit the 3D point-and-click interface was clunky, and the point-and-click genre as a whole has never really progressed into the 3D realm. In fact, today, many modern point-and-click games have returned to 2D graphics, or at least 3D graphics on a largely 2D plane. Gabriel Knight 3 was a bold effort, but one that missed the mark for the most part. Also, we cannot forget the mustache puzzle, a puzzle in which you have to disguise yourself as Detective Mosley. This involves you needing to craft a mustache by using a long-winded method. The long story short is you have to acquire some tape, scare a cat so it runs past the tape and leaves its fur on the tape. So far so nutsoid, but take into account that Mosley doesn't even have a sodding mustache, meaning you have to add one to his image on his ID card. This puzzle is so infamous it has its own Wikipedia page. Gabriel Knight 3 might have a great performance from Tim Curry here, but that doesn't make Gabriel Knight 3 a better game. While it wasn't particularly badly received, a lot of the positivity was directed towards the game's story and writing. While no sales figures were released, it should be obvious they were not good. Gabriel Knight 3 would actually turn out to be the last ever Sierra adventure game, and we never saw Gabriel Knight ever again. Right, let's make like Creed for this next game.
Attack!
I personally have a lot of love for Shiny Entertainment. Their work on Earthworm Jim to MDK were the epitome of wacky and experimental 90s game design. 2000's Sacrifice may well have been a backup project for Shiny to prop up their ambitious lead project Messiah due out the same year. It was a unique third-person real-time strategy game, and players take control of a wizard who can command armies and cast spells in order to take out enemy units. There are various types of spells: offensive, healing, or summoning creatures. All spells cost mana, and more complex spells cost more mana. It was a truly unique game and did feature up to 4-player multiplayer. In Sacrifice you play Eldred, a reckless wizard who has summoned Marduk, an evil demon who destroys the world. Naughty, but enough chatting about the game. Where's our Tim? Well, Tim is one of 2 stars of the game, and he plays the god Stratos.
I am Stratos, god of air and supreme lord of the heavens, bringer of storms, mover of the firmament. Oh, let's to be honest, shall we? In any halfway civilized world, I would be the only god.
Tim is also joined by Brad Garrett, who has a long career of acting and voiceover roles himself, but is mostly known for playing Robert Barone on Everybody Loves Raymond. Tim Curry naturally brings a sense of gravitas, and his sarcastic inflection suits the elitist demeanour as Stratos. He is calm and calculating, unlike a god that might yell or scream. Sadly, Messiah and Sacrifice would both bomb in 2000, with the latter only selling around 10,000 copies, and the sales data was not released for Sacrifice. This 1-2 failure may have been the reason why Shiny Entertainment would not work on an original game ever again, instead focusing on movie IPs going forward. I'm glad to see Jimmy stop putting the Path of Neo in every video. And for today's final game, you might want to get the nappies ready.
Ah, yes. Soon it will all be mine. My brilliant plan is working perfectly. All that remains is...
James Sunderland, Ethan Winters, Alan Wake, you guys do not even know the meaning of horror. In the 90s, everyone was in love with stuff from the 60s, unlike how everyone's in love with the 2000s these days. Several 1960s properties got a revival or became popular once again. Scooby-Doo was one of these properties, and while it has continued to be popular since its 1969 debut, the 90s saw it rise to new heights. The 90s, absolutely amazing. This led to a live-action movie in the early 2000s. The franchise would hold no bounds from 1998 onwards, and we were barraged with new cartoons, movies, and even video games. This barrage would include 2002's Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, which a lot of you watching probably have a soft spot for. It's a kind of 3D-ish platformer with Metroidvania elements, and would see the team come up against familiar foes from the classic TV series. The Mystery Machine and its inhabitants find themselves at Mystic Manor and have to look into the disappearance of Professor Alexander Graham.
I've had a belly full of your meddling. It's high past time I did away with you once and for all.
I think you'll remember this old adversary of yours. He certainly remembers you.
Tim Curry portrays the mastermind, the mysterious lead villain of our game, and as expected he delivers a sleek, sinister character with a theatrical and campy edge that fits the spooky fun tone of Scooby-Doo very well. Once again, Tim Curry is flanked with a whole host of cartoon royalty featuring the likes of Scott Innes, Frank Welker and Grey DeLise. The game itself was, well, a licensed platformer for the PS2, Xbox and GameCube era, so let us be honest with you, it's not going to be a Game of the Year winner, but it's also a cult classic, so maybe there are a few doers out there clamouring for Night of 200 Frights. It sold well enough for the time, meaning that copies are fairly common, so it's not overly expensive for those looking to get their Curry Spookathon going. Spookathon song. And that is our video. What was your favourite Tim Curry performance? Let us know in the comments
Space!
below, and please like and subscribe. Is the desperation working for you? It's working for me. And why not ring the bell while you're at it? Jimmy will be back tomorrow for more spooky goodness, or maybe I'll just rip off my mask and it'll be Jimmy underneath. It was Jimmy all along. Have a good Halloween, enjoy yourself, and word to your mother.